I kind of like distance myself from everybody, all of my friends that I know or that I have known. I mean, that's hard to do because they're people that I genuinely like enjoy the company of, and I do genuinely care for them and want what's best for them. But when you're moving into a new phase of life, I guess, there's people that have to go, as difficult as that is. I think it's like especially hard for me because I put others first a lot of the time. I put others before me. So sometimes like I worry too much about other people rather than worrying about myself. Trying to be there for others, I think it's a good quality to have. But when it comes to letting people go, it's pretty hard. I never really, like, people never really stayed in my life, like close friends. That probably like started like when I was living in LA. Like the friends that I made there were like my closest friends. We would Skype and play Minecraft. Like it was back in the good old days, But eventually I had to come back to the Bay, right? I lost all connection with like any of my friends that I had. And I wouldn't say that it hit that hard because I think like it was pretty obvious. It kind of just tapered off, I just kind of like moved here and then like slowly we just stopped talking. More and more time between like each call. Like I knew that they had like lives that were going on like outside of like what I was doing. But like I would definitely say it kind of influenced like how I like approached making friends later on, like after I moved here. Because after moving here, going to middle school and high school, I would say I made it a habit to keep people at arm's length, like at arm's distance. I don't think I ever got too close to anybody. I feel like it was really hard to really get to know people. I mean, it still is. So I didn't really make too many friends in high school. Probably didn't help that I also tested out of school early, high school, because I was kind of just sick of it all. I was just like sick of school. Yeah. At that time, I met my online friends. In some ways, I feel kind of lucky because a lot of the people that I meet online are genuinely like good, authentic people. I enjoy the company of all of them. They became my longest lasting friend group, I would say, ever since moving here. Met a lot of them through playing games. Spent a lot of time with them, got to know them, shared a lot of like my life and my time with them. I was on the football team. I didn't like vibe with them. Like a lot of them are like jocks and stuff. It was hard for me to like really find company in school. Even after like I went to community college for a little bit, because I mean, you guys, this is probably like one of the first videos that you'll see on my channel, but you guys probably know like in terms of like what I want to do, because like I'm more of like a creative person, so I'm out here like trying to do like writing and like entrepreneurial stuff. Like that's low-key why I didn't like fit in with like my football team, is because like a lot of them were like super into sports and I kind of like wasn't. Like my dad put me into sports, but I was just there kind of just to make him happy. I think like now I kind of enjoy like fitness and sports a little bit more, but at the time it was really hard for me to get through doing school and doing sports, and I just kind of like hated the sports aspect of it. I mean, I hated school too, but doing sports on top of it was terrible. I would just like finish school, come home, like whether it's like from sports practice or whatever, finish my homework, and I'll be messaging on Discord between class periods in high school. just waiting for like everyone to get on after school and after class. I look back on it and I'm like, wow, these guys were really with me during that time. Yeah, they definitely helped me get through that time. Like these were like genuinely like people that I connected with and became friends of mine. Even now, they're like people who like still would check up on me, like even if I'm not like playing games and stuff. Like they'll like message me sometimes out of the blue just to like see how I'm doing, you know, even if I'm not playing games with them. You know, like I think like that's like how genuine of people that they are. And I think that was in a way a blessing for sure. But I think it brings me to the point like where I am now in my life, where I think I've been doing the same thing for so long. I just kind of like spent so much time with them, and I'm like working on my own stuff as well, like stuff that I want to do, you know, in terms of like my career. Because like I said, like I tested out of school early and I barely went to like community college, and all of the stuff that I'm doing is creative stuff, you know. Like this is like a very unorthodox like approach to like success, if you will. And to be honest, like it's kind of crazy. Like I don't even know like in reality like what I'm doing. And that's not like to say like I'm taking it lightly. Like when I'm laughing, it's not to say that I'm taking it lightly. It's just that like the way that I approach life and the way that a lot of people approach life is so different that like I've always had a hard time making friends, getting along with people. Even like the people I knew online, they never truly like got me like that, understood me like the full extent of like kind of like what I think or like what's in my head. Some guy riding his motorbike here, that's kind of cool. But I've always been looking for that, you know. I've always been looking for that person who like connects with me on that wavelength. Like unironically, one of the biggest aspects of my life is faith. And it's so interesting because I always like, I guess having so many friends who like aren't Christian, like especially in my online circle, I never had to worry about my faith in relation to like the friendships I had. But like the more that I continue on in life and the more like I learn and grow, and it's not only just faith. Like when I look at the people that I surround myself with, my friends who are basically, they would spend, you know, 6 hours a day like online playing games. Obviously it gets to the point where you yourself, since you like these people, you're kind of sacrificing your personal time to spend time with them. And, you know, that does take away from what you want to be doing, right? Or like what you should be doing in a lot of ways. So I kind of just looked at them in the sense where like, is this where I want my life to go? You know, do they align with where I'm going? And the answer was just clearly not, right? And that's like one of the biggest things that I've been learning is like, a lot of life is about sacrifice. Like how much are you willing to sacrifice? And you know, there's a video, but there's a video titled like, how much are you willing to sacrifice for your future self? And I actually like, you know, I agree with that idea where you do a lot of the things just for your future self, right? Just for like the benefit of your future. But like the ironic thing to me about it is like the future is never guaranteed to get better, you know. That might sound like a bit of a pessimistic way of looking at things, but genuinely, like we never know what life has in store for us, right? Like, you know, you could live like working as hard as you want, and it's unlikely if you work hard you're likely to improve, right? But I just think like in some aspects, like people get too fixated on the outcome of their work, right? So they're like, I need to work hard in order to achieve this. right? But the problem is that there's a chance that you'll never achieve this at the end right here. So it's less so about like getting to the end, more so who you're becoming along the way. And that's kind of how I look at it, where you don't like you go on the journey to reach a certain point, but you should go into it understanding that you may never reach that end point that you're looking for. Things could change. You could try to be going from A to B and then end up at C or like F, right? Like somewhere, right? Like a point where you never even expected. But the idea is, who are you becoming along the way? Who are you shaping yourself into, right? A lot of the time that determines, I think that's the most consistent thing. That's the thing that matters the most, because the way that you change as a person, the way that you grow as a person, it fits any challenge that you face. So, you might be trying to go from A to B, right? But you have to take a detour to C. Like, what you learn along the way, like that transfers, not like the thing about like chasing goals and chasing objectives is like those things change. Some things you can't take with you to the new place that you're gonna go. Like self-improvement, like we always like have that saying of like delayed gratification, right? So it's like we're playing the long game, right? But I think even more than that is not even like waiting for the gratification, but just like learning like who you are, right, as a person. Like even if everything in your life, like even if you reach success, because a lot of people are chasing success, right? A lot of people are saying like they try to convince themselves, like, if I can reach this point in life, if I could have this, if I can have XYZ, then I'll be happy, or like then like life is complete, or whatever it may be. Or like they're working toward that, right? Because like in their mind, like working on yourself will lead to these external results. But my question is, who are you without those things, right? Like, and at the same time, self-improvement does help you with that, right? Like you become a person through the process. You become a person who is worthy of those things, right? You become a person who actually works to receive what they deserve. But the thing is, like, it's very easy to make your goals and your objectives, make that your personality, or like make that like who you are, right? But I think it's the opposite, right? Like when I think about it, I'm like, if I'm doing it just to get these things, and it gets all taken away, or like, at the end, like maybe I never reach those things, maybe I never achieve what I wanted, like, am I gonna look at everything I did in vain, right? Am I gonna look at everything I did and regret it, right? But that's kind of like the beauty of like the journey that you go on, because it's so much about perspective. If the treasure is who you become by the end of all of your trials, by the end of like everything that you go through, then it doesn't matter what you achieve materialistically at the end. Like the reward itself is like who you became, right? And like for me, since I'm like a storyteller, like that's like my entire thing. Like when you read a story, or you write a story, or like you watch a movie or something, like it's not necessarily about what the hero attains by the end of the story. Like they can lose everything, but it's really about like who they became, right? Like what do they stand for? Even if they have nothing left to their name, like who are they, right? Like that's like the true victory, I feel like. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is like everyone's on that same journey. Like everyone in the world's on that same journey. Like that's one of like the toughest things for me to reconcile, because I'm on my own journey and I'm doing all these things, and I do them just for the sake of doing them. Like why am I out here at like 10 recording a video? Like if you ask anybody, like, why are you doing this thing? You know, like, if you ask me, like, does this contribute at all to your success? Does this contribute at all to where you're going in life, right? Like, you want to be an author, why are you recording these videos? Like, you asked me that, but it's not it's not about like me trying to reach this goal. It's about, who am I becoming by making this video? Who am I like reaching through this video? Like, what aspects of myself am I refining through this process, right? I'm out here doing something that no one else does, that no one else is doing. It's a very introspective lifestyle. Like, I let go of all of these people in my life that I've grown so attached to, and it led me out here, right? When I'm not online in front of my computer, what am I doing? I don't know. I could be doing a ton of things. Could be writing, I could be exercising, could be out here in the middle of the night yapping at a phone. You really don't know. But I think that's like the beauty of it, right? Like, not everything you have to do has to be about your goal. You know, it doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm doing this thing, but like, how does it benefit me in the long run, right? Like, I'm far from where I want to be, and like I said, like, even where I want to be is like not guaranteed, right? So like, in a lot of ways, I'm trying to build myself up, right? Like, the best way to inspire people is to kind of be the best version of you, right? And I'm far from that, right? So like, to help them, I really need to help myself as well. I have such a heart for people, but I don't really say it out of a place of pride. Like, in some ways, like, it's a fault of mine. Like, like, I'm the type of person to like lay myself out over a broken bridge so that you could cross over, right? Like, the problem is, like, most people don't even want to do that, right? They don't even want to cross that bridge. Like, I'm trying to get to the other side, you know. A lot of people just want to stay comfortable. And honestly, that does hurt. It is hard. It is hard to see, because there's so many people that I see and I'm like, wow, you guys have so much potential. You guys are such genuine people. But yeah, maybe you guys have become too complacent. So, and you know, a lot of people aren't even gonna like, me living their lives is like, who cares, right? Just some guy. He's just the same as any other person in my life. And you know, that's true, right? I'm not special in any way, but I will say, the things that I'm chasing after, the things that I'm doing, what I value, I think it's becoming increasingly rare in today's like standards. And honestly, a bunch of you guys watching too, like, you guys might agree, right? You guys might have the same feelings and ideas as I have, right? Where you're looking for genuine connections, you're looking for people who will be with you, like, ride or die with you, right, to the end of whatever you're doing, who are traveling the same path as you. But you look around nowadays and most people are just fine with being comfortable, just fine with being mediocre. And nothing on them, but that's just not where you're going. You don't want to stay here, right? And you might look around and you see the potential in other people, right? You look at people and you're like, man, you could be doing so much more with your life. And yet, every time you talk to them, it just feels like you get caught up in their mud, right? Yeah, this is like one of those topics, because I have so many friends that like, for so long I've been walking through life just like just on my own, man. Like, whether it's like friends, family, whatever, like, dude, it's so hard to talk to people. It's so hard to talk to people. Like who I am and like what I say, it comes from such a vulnerable place a lot of the time, where like, I'll say what I have to say, and if somebody doesn't understand like what I'm saying, or if they don't like value it at all, like, I don't even bother. Like I stop trying, right? Because I know, like, oh, you're not gonna vibe with me. Like, you're not like with it like that. You're not real. Like you're not real like how I need you to be real with me. And like, man, like that's hard. Like that sucks. And I think like that's like the kind of like sad part about it, because like there's so many people that I interact with, but it's just like they'll never really truly understand like the extent of like who I am, I guess. But the cool thing about new stages of life, and the cool thing about not having anybody around you, is that there's so much time that you have for yourself. I mean, that's your only real option or only real choice. So like, you know, why are we here? What are we up to, right? Like, who are you when everything is gone, right? Who are you when you have no money? Who are you when you have no home? Who are you when you have no friends? Who are you when it's just you? When it's just you by yourself, it seems like you have nothing, not a thing to your name. Then who are you? And thankfully for me, like, I know who I am, right? I am a child of God, which is like one thing that I feel like at some point I should give my testimony, but that's one thing that has previously really saved my life. Because there was a point in time where I felt so empty and I had nothing and I didn't know who I was. And that was a dark place to be in, because when you have nothing and you don't know who you are and you don't know like what there is in your life, what the purpose of your life is, or what there is to live for, you get to a really dark place. And in that sense, like, I can say that my faith saved me from that, you know. Finding my identity in Christ was the thing that really kind of revived me in that way. But yeah, like I said, that testimony is a story for a different time. So one is my identity in Christ, and two is I know what I'm becoming. I know where I'm going. I know who I've become through all that I've gone through. You know, all this that I'm seeing and all this that is like in front of me, like, is just a kind of another step, right? Like, it's not gonna change who I'm gonna become, whether I have friends or not. It's not gonna change who I become, whether I succeed or not. Succeed by the worldly standards. What determines who I become is what I make of what comes my way. You know? Sure, I can go out, try to find new friends, try to replace things that I feel like I don't have, relationships that I feel like I want or need. But in reality, sometimes what you need is to kind of just like trust in the process, trust in where you're going, trust that things will come your way, but maybe it's just a season where you have to be alone. And that's kind of where I am. You know, I don't know what the heck I'm doing out here. I'm just kind of like hanging out and being myself. I think that's like one of the coolest things too, is like having an outlet. For the longest time, like, having friends to talk to kind of becomes your outlet for all of the things that are in your head. But when you don't have that, like, when you don't have that, it becomes a creative outlet. Whether you write it, whether you talk to a screen, whether you talk to an audience, when you don't have the things that used to bring you comfort, then how do you respond to that? How do you adapt, right? And that's kind of like what determines who you are. How do you adapt? How do you overcome? Who are you becoming through the process? You know, what are you learning? What are you learning? You know, people get into situations and they just sit there and they're just like, dude, I don't know what to do. Woe is me. Like, my life sucks. Like, that's just how it is. That's just how life is. But like, when you really just look at the situation and analyze the situation, like, there's so much to be learning in every situation. There's so much to be learning in every circumstance you find yourself in. Whether you find yourself alone, whether you find yourself, you know, surrounded by people, it's just a matter of perspective. And I really hope like someone's hearing this and like you really start to understand like what that means. Because like the most powerful tool that you have is building yourself up. Like truly like who are you becoming? I think that's like truly like the question that a lot of people need to be asking themselves. Like, who are you becoming? That's probably like where I'll end it. I'll probably just like end up filming like a workout that I do over here or something. But yeah, so thanks for watching the video if you made it this far. I hope that this helps somebody. It was honestly just me yapping, but yeah, I don't know. I hope that this has been helpful to somebody. I don't think it's like my complete thoughts, but I probably will continue to do this. Hopefully I'll get better at it. Hopefully I could bring like more interesting like content and like subjects and thoughts to like give to you. But yeah, that's that.